And then within there, these different days that can help us learn about and understand the saints' lives and different points of church doctrine and things like that that the church gives us a particular day to talk about and remember.
Right. So how do you work through it as a family, the liturgical calendar itself? How does that work its way down to the family? What do you use? Maybe it changes from time to time?
Well, so what we use is a liturgical wall calendar, and that's sort of the linchpin of my being able to remember that any of these days and seasons are coming up. So I keep an eye on that calendar that tells me when different saints' days are coming up. And we basically just use dinner time as the time that we're all together to add in a special meal that's maybe a traditional meal from traditional celebrations in some country that has a devotion to that saint. Or just a dessert if I'm not feeling up to a fancy dinner. And then over the course of dinner, we have a discussion. What is this feast day about? What does the Immaculate Conception mean? What happened in the life of St. Francis? And then it just sort of is a conversation over dinner, and it allows Dad to be involved too.
Yeah. When I think of the church calendar, you know, I am thinking of the seasons. I'm thinking of saints. I'm thinking of martyrs. I'm thinking of all that. But you helped me to think about food, which I really appreciate that, because you got that all through, and it triggered my memory because the feast of San Gennaro was such a big feast as a kid growing up. Saint Gennarius, we say San Gennaro. So he was, I guess, the Bishop of Naples, which is our family's from that region. And over in New York City, Little Italy there, they celebrate him like incredible. And I could remember all the different foods there, all the games that we would play, everything else. Big part of my youth. I thought San Gennaro made, peppers and eggs and peppers and sausage and so on, and all those different foods. So I'm glad you're rekindling that in me again. So speak a little bit about how you build a culture. So everything doesn't have to be exactly historic and so on. You're talking about you can do other things to build up the culture and certain foods and so on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love hearing those stories from people's childhoods, and people from all over the world contact me and tell me about these different celebrations that they remember or that still take place in their towns. And it just really warms my heart to know about these big Saint Day celebrations that bring the whole community together and allow us to celebrate our Catholic faith and those Catholic traditions. And I think that in a lot of places in the U.S., we don't really have those traditions of sort of big out loud celebrations of our saints. And I'd love to see those come back. I'd love to see on the Feast of Corpus Christi, I'd love to see the Eucharistic processions around neighborhoods again that really help us understand what we believe as Catholics, and also the special meals like you talked about, associating those foods with different feast days.
Yeah.
My kids definitely remember what foods I've made for feast days, and they won't let me forget to prepare it again.